Yo, what is up? What is good? Happy hump day, y'all. Hope everybody's doing well out there. Haha, Zendremic. Glad I'm on too. I was sitting here just working my butt off, and I was like kind of shocked when I looked up in the corner of the screen and I saw that it was after 10. I'm like, I'm not sure how that just happened so quickly, but okay. Now I need to hustle and get a live stream set up. So that's what I did. We're going to work more on the sci-fi sounds, the weapon sounds, and I decided that I will do another round of recordings, and then we'll jump into processing. And I think I've got the majority of it sorted how I'd like to be working it all. So hopefully it's a pretty smooth process for us. Let's see who's here. Olivia's here. Hey, Liv. How you doing? Saf is here. Welcome in, Saf. How you doing, homie? And Zendremic is here. Welcome in, brother. Saf, I feel like we should address the thing, the work thing. Making something remote happen. You know, one way in which you can start this process is by acknowledging the fact that it may not happen all at once, and that's perfectly fine. It doesn't have to be some sort of perfect and seamless immediate transition to independence. Because oftentimes that's just not very realistic, because it takes time to actually build the thing that you want to be doing. So unless you have some sort of windfall come your way, like you win the lottery, or you get some sort of inheritance, or someone, you're rear-ended in a car accident and you get a bunch of money from it, and you decide to not get your body fixed and you just make music instead or something. I don't know. Anyway, aside from those like edge cases, you're gonna have to take some time to actually build the thing and attract some customers to the thing that will allow you to take your first steps, right? So I think you've already got part of that. We were talking the other day about labels and stuff. That's an option for music stuff. There is also the other side of what we've discussed before, where you want to be making sound packs or whatever, but there is also just the one-off sounds, which is a more immediate income. It's less money per click, but you continually upload more sounds, and sounds are then purchased individually by people, right? In a greater marketplace that already has a bunch of traffic coming to it. So if you really want to stay on the audio side of things, there is kind of an easy bake oven, 1, 2, 3, like follow the steps and you'll get there. There is kind of that. With tools like Fiverr and whatnot, where you can allow yourself to be hired freelance for different services. Part of that is producing ahead of time content that could just be purchased by people, which also then validates your existence for being there in the first place. It also provides proof of what you can do. But between that and a couple of like entry-level marketplaces, you could get a very minimal income going pretty quickly. Growing that over time takes just exactly that time, right? But if you're willing to accept the fact that it isn't this immediate transition, right? That it isn't just, unless of course you just get hired by a company, right, to manage something. And a remote job, you could manage a library in some way, right? The metadata in a library, or uh, curation of some kind, data management of some kind. But otherwise, you really just need to kind of start small. Um, and the most important part of that is starting, because it could, like, you could literally do it today. You could get something started today where you are uploading something that is useful, that is also in demand, right? And it doesn't have to be music related. It could be uh, like, if you've got a camera, you could be recording the sounds of you taking pictures, right? The sound effects for cameras are in high demand. Um, there's lots and lots of applications for that. But then you could also like be selling the pictures that you take too, if you're so inclined. Um, but yeah, just thinking through what you could do with audio, stripping away the music aspect of it, um, and kind of starting with a real, true, like step by step approach, you could make something happen. Syndromic says, someone needs to hire me. I'll accept millions of dollars as payment. It's good. It's good that you're flexible, you know? People would appreciate that. Alrighty. Very flex. Much worth. Yes, yes. Yes, yes, yes. Very, very much flex. Okay, so I think we're just gonna stick to the same workflow we've been using on this. My hard drive plugged in here. Of course, that means that we will probably close this project, go to the other project, record some stuff, and then bring it back into this one. That way we keep it all nice and clean. Liv says, I think I've pretty much given up on finding a music-related adjacent job. Yeah, you'd be shocked at what can happen when you say stuff like that. It's like saying, that's it. I'm just going to be single for the rest of my life. I'm giving up on relationships. Like you go to the store to buy some ice cream or something, and someone literally runs into you with a shopping cart and you marry them or something. I don't know. It's just weird stuff happens. Like, you say that and then you end up editing a podcast for someone for the next 2 years randomly. You know what I mean? I don't know. I don't know. Ready to be shocked. Bring it on. Yeah, I think that's exactly the mindset we have to have when we really want something. We just have to stop trying to like force it in some weird, specific, complicated way. Yeah. Truly, though, Saf, really, if you were to start just uploading a couple of sounds, like if you were to look at what is actually selling that day or that week or that month or whatever in any given marketplace, and then upload a little bit of those like recorded sounds, like to get started with, so you don't actually have to put in effort for uh, creation, right? And start figuring out exactly what kind of uh, sounds you'd want to aim for, and then that takes away all of the added complexity and the largely ephemeral nature of making sound for music, right? There are evergreen sounds for music, but people have been playing this game for a really long time, so of course there's super saturation for like all kick drums and the stuff that is like largely applicable to everyone. Um, yeah, just change the mindset completely, and like, if you really want to do uh, something that can create some sort of a passive income, not just you can get income around the times of releases, and then it wanes again. And that involves some form of economy, right? So stepping into a marketplace would be kind of the lowest hanging fruit opportunity there. And there's tons of stuff you can do to kind of secure yourself once you get started in that. But it's the very first step. Very, very first step. I'll be single for life. I also won't be hired, says Andromic. You know, I think I'm pretty secure in this thought, but I think there's a huge and growing number of people in the world that qualify for that same statement. Yeah, it's weird as we're all like starting to become more and more virtual, isn't it? I think I'm going to close this one. I'm going to save it really quick. I'm going to close it. We're just going to open the other one. Yes, this one. Okay, now in here, it's this guy. Yes, this guy. This is our capture track. So these are probably the last sounds. I've got Portal on here. Alright, so I'm going to take these guys. Oh, right. I'm remembering. These are the first pass sounds. We did 3 little quick tests before we opened up our other project. So I'm going to mute all of that. We're going to focus on just grabbing another batch of sounds and chopping them really quick. And we're going to bring them into the other project. Syndremic says, single by choice. Syndremic says, not hard because I'm difficult to work with and I'll probably throw things. Yeah. If you throw things at people or other things, then it makes it complicated. Doesn't it? Doesn't it? Yeah, word, Saf. Word. With with Valentine's Day coming up, maybe it's because I'm not tuned into some of the same types of things I used to be, but it definitely seems like there's less pressure these days. Less pressure in general. Like to be participating in the holiday itself, which is pretty freaking nice. Love music and art. Plenty of love there. Yeah, right, Zen? Right. Okay, so let's go here. Okay. Now, I'm going to take a quick look at the ones that I brought in here. Supersonic Fast. This one. Sonic Fast. Small Virtual. Okay. So those are here. I did these. Oh, so let's go up to these guys. Okay. Let's see. Sonic fast, virtual, slow, gargle, slow, modulate. Let's go to here. Okay, so let's bring in these sounds. Put this all on one track. Here's some of these sounds that we're bringing in. Okay, so we're back here. We're just going to chop the silence out of these sounds really quick. Chopping, 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 chopping. Oops. Let's undo that one. Do it. So I see this little sliver here. No, it's not doing it. Okay. Some long ones in there. Let's see if we can dial that back again. Maybe something like that. Got those just a little bit short. All right. Well, that turned out to be a fair number of sounds. Let's see how many that is. Ooh, that's another 100 sounds right there. Oh, I got a little extra here. Okay. Looks like the rest are clean. So we're going to take those, which actually turns out to be technically 97 sounds. Dating is messy, time-consuming, expensive. Definitely too meh. Okay, so we're going to put these into Oosh. And all these. We'll call these Whoosh 2. just so we can tell the imports apart from each other. So it's going to export those sounds really quick for us. And those are magically appearing over here. All right, we are then going to grab some more. Okay, so here's some more servos. I'm going to grab a handful of these. Look and see which ones we brought in previously. There's some servos. Plastic robot toy hand fast. Okay. That's pretty good. Circular saw. Got these plops. Alright, let's maybe go from the hammer drill. Yeah, a lot of these are just kind of super simple. We're just going to err on the side of more. And take these. Yeah, let's place all these on one file. Syndremic saying, I watch Hollywood sometimes while I eat meals. That's about as Hollywood as I go. Oh man, these are actually quite long, these constants, huh? Oof. These are kind of brutally long. I wonder how those are actually going to work for us. Let's find out. Let's find out. Let's just find out. Oop, that one had a little extra, didn't it? No, no, we're all good. Okay. So that just got us another 42 servo sounds. So let's go ahead and as well. Put on set servo. And we're going to name these. Okay, and for the shots. for a little more beefy this time. Okay, so we're going to do these Winchester. And these guys with the low-end intense plosives. All right, so let's take all of these. And then we'll add to that the Winchesters down here. Those over. Okay. I take all of those. That's 60. I'm gonna put those to body. And shot. And let's call these thumps, just to keep them completely separate. Hump. Okay, disco. We're going to let that export run really quick, and then we'll save this and bounce out, open up the other project, and start bringing them in. Thank you, Logic. I really, really, really appreciate you. Okay. Save. And we're done. Now back into this project. Oh no! Centremic says I had to get a new mouse. This is a terrible time. I hate it. Ugh. Ugh. I have one of the Apple Magic Mice, which works incredibly well with Logic, because it's made by Apple, of course. It's just fantastic. All right. We are going to get back to recording over here. Here's our capture track. We are going to solo this one. Open it up. And we're going to clear out everything that we have cooking inside of here for right now, I think. And we are going to fill it up with the new sounds that we just brought over. Okay. Let's get some onset sounds first. That's going to be... Okay, here we go. Found them. So these are going to be an interesting mix. I wanted something that would have a pretty tight, kind of servo-y, really quick onset sound, like an intake almost, and then something kind of thumpy, shotgun-ish, grenade launcher-ish as the actual shot. That's why we've picked slightly different sounds this time. Yeah, I think these will be pretty interesting to work with. Okay, so I'm just going to grab at random from here. And we're going to do it again in a second bank, and we'll deliver these differently from one another, so they don't sound like they're actually from the same pool of sounds. But there will be some continuity there to help us. Okay, so those two are done. Let's move on to body and thump stuff. I'm going to put whooshes in for the thumps. I'm going to put thumps in for the shots. And we're going to grab from this whoosh 2 group that just imported these guys. Weirdness in here. So I'm going to put those over here. All right, I'm going to do that again. Let's grab different ones this time. Okay, so we've got some interesting whooshes, and let's put in some body sounds here. Start with this one. Okay, and for the second bank, I'm going to start from the bottom and work up. Some kind of really low-end stuff down here in these bottom ones. All right, let's play through these. We haven't actually shaped this stuff yet, but... Okay. Well, let's start shaping these then. We're going to make everything pretty short with our... I didn't grab tails. Envelopes here. Go ahead and grab some tails. I'm not as concerned about the perceived variety of these tails this very moment. I'm going to shorten them. I'm going to bring them down in amplitude, so they're going to feel a bit more nondescript, I guess. All right, and we're going to change these depths and stuff. All right. We're going to put our thump just a little bit earlier. Last batch. Okay. All right, so now let's take these shotgun sounds and start. Oof. All right, let's try that again. Okay. All right, let's get our onset dialed in. We got these really long servo sounds in here, which kind of forces us to adjust the shape for all of them. It's because of the limitation of the tool. You need it to be even more succinct than that. So we're actually going to start pretty quick on these. And we'll have them wind down at the end. All right. These onset sounds that are long are just a little bit too long. I'm going to find them really quick. Ah, there it is. Okay, so I'm going to take this guy out. And this guy out. Alright. Take this guy out. They're just too long. They're simply too long. They're causing issues. Okay, let's try it with that. Okay, it's pretty close now. I'm just going to bring the thump up a little bit more. Okay. What kind of mouse? Logitech discontinued their G600 gaming mouse. Use the buttons on the side with various macros and programs. Oh, that sucks. Got a Razer now. Do not recommend. It's confused. That sucks. Not from this planet. Ugh. Liv's been enjoying Glorious's mice lately, but if you need a lot of programmable buttons, it may not be the best. Yeah, I feel really, really lucky that the that this tiny little mouse does exactly what I need it to do in Logic, which is like the thing that I care about most. Super lucky. Okay, so I'm just gonna take a look at these really quick. These whooshes. Okay, yeah, I can see how a couple of these are throwing off the timing of all of them. So I'm just gonna tighten up each one of these just a bit. Get a slightly better shape out of these. All right, let's try this again. Yeah, it's just a weird mashup of sounds. I think I need to bring in just a little bit more in two areas. First, the onset sounds. I think I just need something that is a little bit more mechanical and a little bit more. So we're going to grab a little bit of both. Okay, I'm just going to run through those really quick. Make these pretty tight. I don't want them forcing us to use more time than we really need. All right, and the second one, let's put in a charge kind of sound. so these guys need to be shortened as well. Okay. Now, since they're being shortened so artificially, actually slow these down, get a little pitch drop out of them. Alright, now let's get the body up. Hoo-hoo. Yeah, okay, so these are sounding and feeling quite a bit better now. Magic Mouse plus Mac programs is like butter, right? Yeah, they did have a kind of a home run moment, I think. Yeah. Syndromic says, I haven't released anything since last year. I'm doing lots of stuff, but I feel like I'm sitting still. It's funny how that works sometimes, huh? All right, but the thing is that these thumps aren't quite doing it, are they? So let's add a little bit of the granular sauce to the... Oh, actually, let's take this one out. A shorter one. Okay, and we'll just tighten these guys up a bit. Don't have to wait. They're taking quite a bit longer to dial in than last week. Oh, I guess it was just Monday, huh? Man. Time. Ooh. Oof. All right, let's record some of these. Let's record some. I do not need to record on that one. All right, here we go. Syndromic is saying, I'm learning art stuffs for my music. Progress is slow. Send help. Stagnation does not mean motionless. Yeah. You wear your coffee. Now that's something. I'd take off this ring mod for a bit. Alright, let's just see what happened there. Gosh, that's 106 regions right there. And it looks like it actually probably got them. Gosh. 106 more samples, I guess. Haha, Rokusai! What's up, Roku? This is called Weaponizer, and what it does is it allows you to load up 4 different sample banks in 4 different columns. Onset, body, thump, and tail, and then you can manipulate the delivery of each sample bank lane in each column here, and you can do that by way of simple speed or envelope control. Pretty simple, all things considered. It was way ahead of its time when it first came out, in a way, because it was blending synthetic and real-world sounds in one library with a few like onboard controls. But I want to say this was like gosh, like 2015 or something like that when they put this out. Something like that. Somewhere in there. 14. Hasn't seen much change in that time either. But it's really good for this type of workflow. It also has some onboard synth capability as well. Yeah. Pretty interesting stuff. Goes pew pew. It doesn't do much in regards to playback. It will speed up or slow down audio samples that are put into it. And that's it, based upon either a knob or an envelope control, which you can have for either the level or the speed control. So it's very limited in that way. There's no like resynthesis or anything like that. There's reverb on the tail. There's a synth on the thump. There's a synth on the body. there's a synth on the onset FM stuff. And then over here, you've got EQ, compressor, limiter, saturation, ring mod, flanger, transient shaper, noise gate. No, yeah, just simple sample delivery. This is, by and large, a way to really quickly layer really, really simple sounds together. So you can get new, like entirely new things. So it's pretty cool. Like, if you're into game design, it's really great because you can combine different weapon types, which is like really necessary to kind of bring the non-real weapons to life, right? The imagined weapons to life. Yeah, so it's pretty dope for that. I think Krotos kind of hit the nail on the head with a few products in a row, Weaponizer being one. Yeah. Okay, so we just did that. That's another 100 something samples, and we're going to end up processing those in a variety of ways. But let's just listen to some of those really quick. I think I got out of the ring mod what I needed to get out of it. And then we ditched it about halfway through the bursts. That'll take care of most of our disruptor type stuff. Cool. So this gives us much more. This is kind of bridging the gap between what we did on Monday and what we did in this first batch here. Yeah, these are all highly synthetic. That's a dope one. Right, and then we did this other set on Monday too, which has a shorter onset time throughout the series. All right, so we've got some interesting profiles, and then we've also got these other handful of sounds which we can pull in. Let's see here, it was in day one, and it would have been our, which I guess would have just been these right here. Yeah, so we can bring in these as well from the other project, because these were the other ones that we bounced out of Weaponizer that day. So I'll put these here. Track. Okay, and that looks like it was a total of... Doesn't look like it has anything. Okay. 16. Just a little bit more on this guy. Okay. 2. A little less on this guy. Okay, so we'll put it here and we'll just manually chop 2. Okay, and then I don't think this one has anything. Yeah, this one's just blank. Alright. Let's listen to those as well. If I remember correctly, these were pretty darn synthetic here. Oh, there's one. Let's chop that really quick. There was one other one over here. There it is. Alright, so we've got all of those now, and that equals another 8. So, all said, we're sitting here with 450 sounds. We'll see how that ends up playing out for us. I think often with the newer plugs, I don't like the response times of the envelopes, like the ghosting effect, if you know what I mean. Yeah, Roku, I do. I hear that. Yeah, reaktor is where it's at for sound design. That's true. Oh, let's put this over here. Like this. Okay. So now we have a whole bunch of sounds, and I will save so I don't lose them. Now we just have to figure out exactly how we want to proceed with all these guys. And we are going to play primarily the basic parameters first. Let's start on this row here. Yeah, like the sound of these is mostly okay, but the I'm not sure about that huge tail there. We were using a fair bit of the onboard synth stuff here, I think. Yeah, like this one here. That almost feels like it needs to be resampled almost. Syndromic says, someone explained to me why I has to be so different in all the ways. I feel like I have something to say, but differently. Man, you know, I think probably all of us feel that way, you know? I think there's a lot of falling in line that happens by everyone continually as they go through their days. And if we were truly allowed to let our freak flags fly at the way that we wanted to, I think you'd find that individuals are a bit more individual. Like, we all have the same kind of, you know, underlying concerns, needs, whatever, but we're freaky deaky. Like, we're pretty out there. Like, I think all of us, you know? Liv says, man, fired my laser goes way back, realizing how old I am in this moment. Oh, man. Prime age for sacrificing oneself, all of humanity's sins. Yes, there you go. Because you're an infinite fractal of the universe experiencing a fraction of itself by your own experience. That's why you feel that way. You're ancient on the internet. I think there's some truth to what Rokusai is saying. Yeah. Zen says, like, when I create music, I just default to so different art. Yep, ideas, weird thoughts all over the place. Always questioning, never accepting. Yeah. Yeah, and I think there's there are some people who seem to be totally satisfied with a simple routine that does not vary much over time. And when it does, it seems like anxiety kind of creeps in. Now, I feel like the opposite is true for a lot of folks that happen to call themselves artistic, and they also happen to have a lot of the same kind of quirky qualities that elude the folks in the other camp that claim to be non-artistic, right? Unable to conjure. It's always seemed to me that, not to like place big blanket labels or make huge like generalized statements, but it's always kind of seemed to me that these two camps, they're kind of the two magnetic forces, if you will, kind of socially for us. It's not so, to me, it's not so much about like type A versus type B. It's more about like the conform and the non-conform types. And the non-conforming types, by and large, seem to really drive innovation in artistic ways. And it kind of haunts the other camp. Like, they can't quite comprehend the conjuring or justify in their minds the conjuring of these things. So it's almost like a magic. And conversely, it almost seems like some sort of magic is being used to satiate these folks, right? Like, how can they be so satisfied without all of the oh my goodness. Yeah. Yeah, give into the weird. That's what I say. Sin says, but the weird is, I don't like certain things that others say are normal. Yeah, I hear that. And Roku's right. Fuck normal. It says lots of people vibe on the stock experience. We just have refined tastes when it comes to our human experiences. Yeah, it's insane. Like my sound choices and arrangements are very different from typical choices. Wrong, but to me it makes sense. It's hard to work with others because I don't see things the same way. Roku says, I envy the simple man sometimes, more so because they have a very different challenge set in life. Yeah, yeah. Since I understand why people make certain choices, but I choose not to accept those choices. I see what they are saying, but to me, it makes no sense in other ways. So, am I wrong? Not following the rules? No, I don't think you're wrong. Both groups do kind of haunt each other, huh? I've never thought about it. That that feeling goes both ways. It's good wisdom. Well, I feel like it's part of what we encounter all the time. In like, okay, for instance, I saw a moment, a clip. I didn't hear any of the audio associated with it, so I don't actually know it was being said in the room at the time. But I saw video footage of Musk walking into the Oval Office and Trump sitting at the table, and Musk had his kid up on his shoulders, and he brought him down. And he like set him on the chair. He's chilling in the background. I'm just kind of watching body, right? And I'm watching the kid watch these guys, and I'm not like here to like assess things or put labels on things. I'm certainly not a doctor or anything, but there's also just the fact that we all live on a like every kind of parameter that we want to identify in each other lands on some form of spectrum. Like I am absolutely convinced of it, right? Your eyes aren't just blue, they are on a spectrum of colors, and they include other colors besides just blue, right? And so on and so forth. So I'm looking at what's happening on the screen in front of me, and I'm like, dude, both those guys are autistic. Like both those guys, both those guys are on a neurodivergent spectrum of some sort. And if you just look at the way that they're holding their own bodies from moment to moment, it kind of seems that this might be true. So now, if you just kind of take a step back and accept the fact that we are all neurodivergent in some way, right? Because there's no, like, if there's a norm, it's what, like the cow that just follows mindlessly, and then everything that deviates from that is divergent. I don't know. But anyway, let's just say that that they fall into a part of the spectrum that disallows about half of society to comprehend the whys behind the decisions and the things that are like most outwardly apparent from these folks. And they're not going to explain themselves in a way that is sufficient or satisfactory to the people that can't get past what seems to be some sort of schism between them. Now, the same can be true looking from the other side, I think, right? And I think that it's by and large the same kind of thing that we bump up against here, too, right? Why is it so easy for the masses to dismiss the arts in times of great need to do so, right? Like when times are tight, whatever. Why is it that the arts are to go first or whatever? Well, it always comes back to like this conversation about necessity and whatnot. Um, so then it, you know, we're kind of looking at the underpinnings of like what is a need for people, right? Like it quickly kind of starts to get away from us. But I think that a lot of the walls that kind of go up as we get to that point are kind of based in the fact that we're simply wired differently, and we can't expect that the wiring on the inside of the house is the same from house to house. They might look the same. They might all look cookie cutter from the outside, but they all got these weird idiosyncratic things happening inside of them. People, you know, us. Since I wish I had one interest. I have so many. I'm doing so many things, and often I just feel like I'm running in one spot, but learning, or at least it feels like that. Oh my gosh. Roku says he changed his Twitter handle to Harry Balls, and on the news, the reporter didn't realize. Let's laugh my ass off. Oh my goodness. Yeah, yeah. Pitfalls of being surrounded by yes men. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, and Roku's right here, having nothing to do with autism, not having empathy in general is dangerous. Yeah, that's the thing. Only because we are social creatures that can affect each other greatly. And when some folks jump into the pool with us that are missing that piece, pretty freaking disruptive. Elmo was a psychopath. It's true. Elmo is a psychopath. Oh, Elmo. You know, it's so funny when you look at like grown men doing cartoon voices and stuff, like some of the greats. It's so funny watching them contort themselves to get these cute little sounds out. Absolutely hilarious to me. That's disturbing. Oh. Between like lots of voice acting and becoming a dad, lots and lots of character voices get nailed along. When I was really little, I was convinced that impersonation was like a key skill to have. Yeah, it is such a fascinating art. It's weird to me just how affected we all are as people by different deliveries. Whew. Yeah, because having to go through like delivering dozens of takes of the same thing, or asking someone else to go through dozens of takes of the same thing, searching for something you can't quite put a word to. It's nuts. All right, let's get some of these sounds out. I want to play with a couple of similar sounds first. So these all look kind of similar. Play these. Okay, this is actually a pretty good example one right here. Let's isolate this. We're going to... It's here. Okay, so we've got two sounds that are identical. Rachie, welcome in. Happy Wednesday. Yeah, Zen, I think a lot of people kind of go that route when they're young, not quite sure what to even do socially, you know? Liv says, truly, there are so many lines from random media I've consumed over the course of my life where, for whatever reason, one line super sticks with me just because of the precise way it was delivered. Not usually anything quotable, literally just common word phrases that scratch the right part of my brain. Yeah, it's true. And you wouldn't believe how many versions of that one word are sitting on the cutting room floor. Oh, yeah, it's its own thing. Yeah, for sure. All right, so we've got these two sounds that are identical, but we're going to change them. Let's just take this first one. We're going to, or the second one, we're going to transpose this down just a few steps here and see what happens. So here's the first. Second. Yeah, I kind of want this maybe even just a little bit lower. A couple of these really sound like they just need to be resampled, so... Whoa. Yeah, okay, so this one has the pitch dropped now, and if we add a fade tool to this, and we drag it across to here and make this a speed up. Hmm. I've had this need for um, a new DAW, basically, for quite some time that allows me to affect different parts of a single waveform region in my timeline differently. I just need this. The people around me don't usually understand me when I make these demands. But just follow me here. Like, imagine this. I've just used a fade curve to transform that into a speed up over here. Now, what I want to do is then time crunch this. I want to stretch this down. Like, I want to speed this up. I want to keep the timbre the same. I want to squish this up. So it gets delivered in 1/4 the amount of time that it's being delivered in right now. But I don't want to involve all of the bouncing in place and chopping and rebouncing required to do that, to have it all in one contiguous audio file. Yeah, I want more fluidity. Dang it. STP's here. Yeah, STP is nailing it right there. That is the nut to crack. So STP is saying, I think most memorable words or memories are usually tied to how they made you feel emotionally. That's it. Like, yeah, our senses are, um, hmm, our senses are memory driven, and so our memories are sense driven, right? Like everything is coming through us through senses, so it's altering our perception of whatever it is that we are perceiving. Um, how about that for a mouthful? Right? But then add to that um, how things are recalled and like for what purpose, right? Um, and it all starts with survival. So when you have a strong emotional response to any of the things coming in to the operating system through one of your senses, it's written in like indelible ink, in bold. Liv says maybe, but a non-zero amount of the phrases that have stuck with me have been from porn. So yeah, just like music, STP. Yeah, that's exactly it, right? Like, you remember that really awesome uh, song that was released that one summer because of the road trip that you were on with your friends, and this moment that was happening when you heard the song on that radio with them, or because of the school dance that you were at and the kiss that occurred, or whatever it was. Like, yeah, it's like indubitably tied to something else in life, um, not just the song itself. And then there's also the memorability of breaking expectations. Like, there are certain things that stick with us because we were expecting one thing and we got something so totally different that it forced a strong emotional response in us. We couldn't believe it in the moment, and then we were fine with it. Like, we got right with it in the same moment, and it instantly became a favorite. You know? Yeah, yeah. Expectation. It's funny. Expectation and anticipation. What those things do to us as creatures, right? Forecasting, and then when we get it wrong. Yeah. Music equals time travel that takes you back to a specific emotional state in time. Yeah. Yeah. That's exactly it. That's exactly it. So now you can understand why there are like tropes, or there are cliches in sound design, like in films or in music, for instance, right? It's not necessarily that they are accomplishing something so mechanically specific that it's got to be done that way or it's be preferred that way. It's that so many people in our world that consume this type of content have a strong emotional connection to this type of element, right? So it continues to work. It's a fascinating, fascinating rabbit hole. Fascinating. Yeah. If a picture captures a moment in time, a song can capture an emotion in time. Um, and you can kind of get that from photographs, right? But also not. Like sometimes you forget what someone looks like, but when you think about them and you realize you can't remember what they look like because it's been so long since you've seen them, right? Like a relative that's passed on or whatever. But even thinking about them elicits such a strong emotional response, right? And not remembering them like really reinforces all of that. So there's stuff in there that's not tethered to just the one sense, right? It's a network. It's like a web of little contributions to these emotional moments. Yeah, like dreams. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think dreams, like now that we've been living in the AI era for a little while, I feel like dreams are basically like the hot soup that gets served up when we type in a prompt and we get an image back. Like that's kind of it. It's like these are all the things that I have to work with. Here's here's what I think you mean. These weird kind of sometimes abstract or kind of forced together little bits of things. It's like, yeah. Yeah, I totally feel that. I totally feel that. Yeah. Like, why did that dude have a flipper instead of an arm in my dream or whatever, right? It's like the AI got that one wrong. There is something magical about dreams, right? It is. All of it's pretty magical. I think it's because we don't understand how it works. I think that's when we start ascribing the magic. Oof. All right, I'm going to take this back down to 0 here. Yeah, like if we were to power down this guy, if we were to take this guy and push it right up to the edge here, give it a fade down on the second half. That's kind of cool. Kind of folding in on itself. Now, if we were to make this a bit more convex here. Yeah, there we go. There we go. That feels a little bit more, a little more complete. I have no idea what that weapon actually is. I feel like it's probably affecting like space-time in some way. Danger. Danger. Yeah, dreams are just so wild. It's just nuts. It's so wrong that we didn't come with an operating manual of some kind or something, like trying to make sense of everything is just nuts. I was trying to explain um so Nico's really super sharp. He really gets evolution, like the concept of evolution, but uh um right, like with so many people, it's like this, everything is compartmentalized, right? A giraffe is different than a horse, which is different than a fish, which is different than a fern, right? But I see it a little differently. I see it all as like component driven, um, modular building, right? So as soon as nature susses out or figures out a way to accomplish something, it can then be put to task and tested in a whole bunch of different applications, right? Um, so this conversation came up around like the idea of ears, for instance, like the way that water drips off of our ears, like when we're showering or when we get out of water or whatever, right? The reason why we can still hear after that is because they all drain. It drains well, right? Which is like this super silly thing we don't even think about, right? But like the shape of all of that took a long time, right? So like the design is separate from the programming, but the functionality is intrinsically tied to both, right? It's very much like like programming software for hardware. Holy poop! Yeah, it's amazing just how we've kind of copied how everything is actually made without even realizing it. It's nuts. Hmm. So Drumick says, the fact that humans and plants are from the same planet, but humans are so much more different. We can fly machines. Yeah, you know, what's really strange is the fact that when you look at all of the samples that they're bringing back from all these different asteroids and stuff right now, all of them are showing signs of life. All of them are showing the basic building blocks of life. So it is no duh that as things land on a planet or a moon, at the surface of anything, it brings with it the possibility of that life or those building blocks for life having an impact. Like, yeah. You do photosynthesize, Liv. Did you know that you do photosynthesize? There are actual different photosynthesis processes taking place inside of your body. Like, for instance, the vitamin D that we get from the sun is a photosynthetic process, basically, and it's producing a pre-hormone, something that we still don't fully understand. But we do have those same functionalities, like the same patents that nature created with plants were carried over and used and are still used. Yeah. Cosmological semen. Yeah. Gonna stop eating anything but sun. I mean, there is something to that. There is something to that. If you eat lots of fruits and veggies, you are eating the sun. You are eating the results of their photosynthesis. Hungry? Nah, I was out in the sun. I'm all good, man. Thanks. All good. Man. Gives a whole new meaning to sun tea, right? You just like put a cup out in the sun and just wait for it to be filled with sunshine and then drink the sunshine? Sun would be a solid diet, frankly, for about 2 weeks. Hungry? Nah, I was out in the sun. I'm good. Must have been a wet pocket for Natasha. Hi. Yeah, okay, so like this one here, I'm going to bring this one down too. So we've got the same sound twice here. I'm going to stretch this guy. I'm going to do polyphonic on this. And then I'm just going to squeeze it a bit. Not any exact amount. Original. And new. Yeah. Yeah. In fact, I'm going to copy that again, but this time I'm going to shrink it much more. Okay. So, new. Newest. Ooh. Huh. Okay, so I really like this. I like the charge sound. I like this. Yeah, just imagine it right here. All nice and tight with this guy here. This. Yeah. That's pretty nice. Ain't no sunshine when she's gone. Yeah. DJ! What's up, Wolfie? How you doing, man? Okay. Just waking up over there. How you doing? Oh, nice. 7:43 a.m. there, huh? Nice. I'm gonna go hit the bathroom really quick, and when I come back, I'm gonna figure out what I'm doing next. Have the volume here for you. I'll be right back. I am back. I think we're gonna have I think we're gonna put the Sounds app into the hands of some people this week. I think that's actually gonna happen. Thanks, Liv. Oh, you know what? I just realized that I have not responded to Danny, and I'm going to do that really quick. Also do. All right. R&R is essential, right? Truly. But yeah, you guys, I think we're about to actually put the Sounds app into people's hands. I think starting as early as this week. Dope, right? Yeah, it'd be awesome. Syndromic says, bro, so many people been laid off, tech, creative the past year. Yeah. Yeah. I feel like, man, in this new era that we've stepped into, I feel like it's weird calling it an era, this new reality, maybe, that we've stepped into. I don't know. It's built more for independence than it is the old model. It's weird. Syndromic says, legit freaked out about my life choices going into creative. Liv says, I graduate in the spring. I'm sure the job market won't shaft me. I'm sure everything will be fine. Everything will be fine. If all of us can just kind of become counselors and stewards of the planet, like real quick, we could maybe save things and help each other feel better along the way. It'll be fine. We're good. Everything. All of it. Fine. I don't know. The music is okay. Yeah. I think the trick right now is to not pay attention to what's happening in the world if you don't want to be upset. I think maybe that's the key. All right, where shall we start? Where shall we start? Is this the one that we brought in? This is the one from earlier today. Yeah, it is. Wolfie says, I've always been playing a game of peekaboo with reality anyway. I mean, this is a pretty good example of what we were talking about before, actually, Liv, about, someone might be asked to take like a couple dozen or a few dozen takes of the same exact word. So here, I'm using for all of these samples here, let's just see how many this is. This is 67 samples I recorded here. And it's all using the same frequency intonation from in the ring mod to produce like a specific character. So I will only use a few of those sounds. Like I'll use a few of the burst sounds and a few of the single shot sounds out of all of those probably. I'll probably call them disruptor something. But that's kind of the same thing, right? That we were talking about earlier. I'll probably pitch shift a few up and down to get a few more out of the batch, but by and large. And maybe I'll transform some with some granular stuff or some distortion that will kind of affect that and get a few more out, but by and large. Can create a myriad of experiences with very little source material. Yeah, this is so true. This is so true. I was recently invited to TrackLib, which is like something that's pretty cool. Like you gotta absolutely put in your time to get an invite to TrackLib for sure. But the thing that's different about them is that they release stuff in cycles, and so they had interest in a whole bunch of stuff, and I told them I'll send over like 20 packs or so to get started, and they all went through the ingestion and review process, and then they are assigned a release date, and they're all staggered. It's like a couple at a time, and there's space between them, so it's a period of months that the packs will come out. And it's cool because it reminds me of a world that we don't really operate in anymore, which is like the world of record shops and whole albums, and the anticipation of things coming. They tell their audience what's coming next, what to expect, and people get hyped over that. And then they have to sit there and wait for more episodes to come, basically, for more sounds to come from those same folks. And there's something about all of that that's great, not having it all at once and getting kind of a slow drip of stuff. Like, what can you do with this over the next couple of weeks while you're waiting for that next stuff to come out, or whatever, more appreciation time or something. I don't know. But definitely kind of harkens back to a completely different time and way of doing things, and that really affected the way that we consumed all of it. And there's something really great about that. There's something really, really great about that. I do hope that there is in this new AI era, a bit of a resurgence of that, in that artists are not, those who remain, are not going to be pushed in the same ways or by the same things, and I think we will by and large be able to explore much more. Yeah. It says, yeah, especially when the drip is crafted to be optimized for that kind of setup, you know? Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I've really been feeling myself being pulled back toward um, making some instruments again over the past few years, but very strongly over the past couple of months. Um, I'm definitely sitting on a mountain of source material, if you will, and I have so many great ideas as to the types of tools that could exist and do not yet, or making good use of those sounds. Yeah. Yeah, I love it. I love it. I love it. Like in my thinking of all of the things. In fact, I'm just going to save this project and we'll just go do it right now. We'll just go make something right now just because we can. I'll come back to this later. Um, of all of the things, it's probably my favorite of the things, non performance wise. Um, is just the true, like, from scratch, from the ground up, just creating an entirely new realm, world, new something. Big fan. The thing that's had me thinking more seriously about getting back into the instrument design is that I no longer have to rely upon other people in the same ways in which I did, and I also don't need to be held back by time as much. Um, and both of those things are pretty darn appealing, honestly, because I don't know how many of you have ever tried to create like stuff at scale for people, but it's a lot. It's a lot, and like maintaining all of it is a lot. But making the stuff is a freaking super awesome time. So let's make some stuff. Say more about not depending on other people. Okay, so here's a really good example of how AI affects my processes, right? Like, I make all of my art um, with AI stuff now for the most part, right? And why not? Now, I will say that no one else was ever making the art for me. So no one else has been like displaced in this process. Someone could argue that maybe I should have been supporting an artist the whole time doing that stuff. And I would just say, it's my thing. If you want me to do it, or if you want it done a different way, you do your thing. Um, but I will say that that's a huge time sink for me. And I never really knew exactly what was going to come out. I just knew roundabouts what it should be for an image to represent something, whether it's a sound or a song or whatever. But that took time, right? And then writing up all of the um, like, not the marketing side of stuff, not the worried about how other people are going to perceive this with like the words that I choose for it, but like the scripting and stuff inside of kontakt to actually make the macros and the animations and everything, like the GUI for the instrument itself. All of that can now be kind of realized very quickly, and not just through AI, but through other tools that have just kind of evolved over the past few years. Um, there's coding tools that are really assistive. They'll provide prompts as you're typing, And for the first time over the past few years, there have been tools that have been introduced that allow for this to be done with the kontakt scripting language. Um, the same way that it's been with CSS and HTML, for instance, for a really long time. So yeah, just stuff like that is really time saving, and it makes the things a lot less daunting, and you don't have to feel as though it's going to take like years to accomplish, or like a year to accomplish a solid tool, right? And also halt production on everything else for that time. Kind of all of that's changed with the tools, I'd say. Syndromic says, I have plenty of songs to release, but I'm stuck on art. Um, yeah, so see, Liv, right here, like if you had design chops, for instance, and you just had like a knack for it, right? Like that could totally be a niche that you carve out and still stay in music adjacent land, right? Um, I have no idea if that actually is something that you're into or whatever, but personally, I think that like you're going to school for some stuff to help folks, right? Right? Like artists need help. You could carve out a niche with musicians and sound designers and like really grok stuff. You don't want to help folks. Screw folks. Forget people. Make noise. Just make noise. But yeah, there's pitiful to try to help others when I can't even help myself. Man, don't we all feel that way, right? Yeah, I feel like this is those things kind of combined take out a whole bunch of the like speed bumps and roadblocks that have by and large kept me from doing it for quite a while. But it's always fun. Like I've enjoyed it when I've done it in the past. So, but if we were to take something, let's just take something. Let's go into here. Actually, let's do two things. We're going to go to some form of field recording first. No, actually, let's do the sound first. Let's just grab maybe modular clouds, maybe? I don't know. Maybe just that first note. Maybe we'll just start the challenge of just the first note. Trusting yourself with the responsibility of helping others, man, there's a thing. Right? It's not mapping editor, wave editor, please, thank you. I'm just gonna take this first note. We'll just end it there, I think. And zoom in a bit here. Now let's add maybe something from Sacred. Okay, sure. We'll take this because it's like the first little sound found here. And let's just go ahead and let's drop it by like 2 octaves or something right away. Let's tighten up our start point here. So I've got these ideas for these weird, kind of, I guess mostly unstable or unexpected types of sounds that kind of have coherence issues, if you will. Yeah, I want to build some instruments that have some fairly decent and aggressive morphing capabilities that just kind of push against what we expect in most ways, like from the very core of the sound itself. I'm going to put on a little zone envelope here. Yeah, imagine if you can an instrument that allows you to kind of pull pieces of it in different ways, or like process different parts of it in different ways, but they're core components of the sound itself. It's not something that's being divvied up in high, mid, or low. It's something that's fundamental to the body and timbre of the sound itself. So, like, holy. So, yeah, that's kind of what I'm skirting around as far as the kind of basis of the idea. I can't actually say a lot of it out loud until I get to a certain point, just because other people will run with ideas before I even have a chance to make the damn thing. But there's a whole series of instruments that's based off of this one concept that brings multiple sounds together and then allows the user to apply multiple processes at once, but in a really simplified manner, in a really simplified user interface. So there's no complexity, and there's a fair bit of mystery. Yeah, so nothing from the user is entirely intentional. There's always a bit of unexpectedness uh, to them, right? And then the user could set a range of probability or depth of modulation, if you will, for various things. So things aren't too chaotic. They could be very much under control and contained. So things could be musical. Like some built-in chaos. Yeah, you could say that. You could say that. And then each tool that these instruments run in would have slightly different onboard tools that you could play with, accessing different parameters in different ways. So one could perhaps yield incredibly harsh and aggressive tonality, and another one may be outputting calm, angelic, like super soothing stuff. And some of the same source audio might be in both instruments, but it's more just about how everything is being cooked up behind the screen, behind the veil, so to speak, right? Because of the simplified user interface, you might not be fully clued into how everything is actually being achieved, just that you really, really like it. And the reason why I want to take some stuff in that direction is because I feel like there's a lot of magic that's been lost through precision and people constantly looking at numbers and curves and stuff and trying to get things just exactly right. There is kind of a beauty to the tools that you use that you can't gain true precision over. They have just like a regular old knob or fader, and it's kind of vague as to what it's even doing. There's obviously some sort of like governance in place. But you roll with it because it outputs really great sound. So, yeah. Yeah, Zendremic. Yeah, Liv. I think that's part of it. Yeah, the more complex the instrument, the less complex the arrangement has to be. Yeah, and also, something can feel uh, very simple upon first meeting it, like first approach, but there's so much interest in how it's coming about that having something incredibly minimal to allow people to hear this occur becomes uh, more enticing, if you will. It becomes more uh, like people might gravitate to less is more if the sound experience itself is more rich and immersive and, again, just from moment to moment, bumping up against expectations, right? Because think about it. If there's one element in the mix that's super interesting and it's constantly beating expectations, then wouldn't almost everything else be kind of a distraction by its very nature? So, uh, yeah, I think just kind of putting more of an emphasis on the living, breathing part of the instrument itself, I guess. Yeah. Mm. Yeah, stimulation economics. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Stimulation economics. Right. That sounds like a good name for uh, a sound pack or a. It sounds like a TED talk or something. you know? Live, yeah, a lot of mental illness would disappear immediately if you got rid of capitalism. Yeah. Right? Imagine stepping up to an instrument, right? And you're pressing a button and you're like, how is this sound happening exactly? Right? But it's all actually just like if you were to take off just like a couple of processes. It all just kind of starts with something that has a unique timbre to it, right? And I'd probably want to make this like wiggle a little bit, right? And that could be like one of the main things about this little guy is that it has a wiggle. So we'll give it a little wiggle, and then people could control whether that wiggle is fast or slow or strong or not. Hmm. It could even be um, done through like a ring mod. All right. So it should feel a little disjointed, right? Having that only on one layer in there. That's concerning, Zentremic. It's fine. It's fine. It's fine. Okay, now that's starting to feel kind of cool here. Let's take this guy. It's like this kind of drone-y thing. Put it through there. This is different sound, untouched now, through that same chain. I'm going to turn off all that stuff and just look at this really quick. Set up a little loop area here. And we can just go, let's see here, and until release, back and forth. That's really stupid that the noise is not responsive. Native instruments, that's stupid. There needs to be a gate on this. That's stupid. That's not good. That means I can't use that. Kwame Brown, how are you doing? How was your weekend, homie? How you doing? Appreciate you. Thank you for the sub, by the way. Kwame's here saying, "Hey, Beb, heading out for vacation. Any books to recommend to get my mind right? Feeling quieter, down and lost." Um, do you know Murakami? If you just need to get out of town and decompress and get out, like, don't know, but I've heard the name. Go read like the Wind Up Bird Chronicles and just lose yourself in it. Do you like weird? Mood Machine by Liz Pelly. Ooh, what is that about? All about Spotify. Kind of depressing though, so maybe. Oh yeah. No work related stuff. You want something like weird and something like little mind bendy, but not like sci-fi or anything like that. Just kind of weird. I just like recommending Murakami for vacation books because it's such a departure from the norm for most. So tell us about your weekend, Kwame. What'd you do over your weekend? How you doing? Proud of you for putting yourself out there, man. Big ups. Big ups. I was just over here making weird little noises over here. Well, the city cheered. Oh my gosh. You didn't take any of your music to be heard by anyone? Kwame says, I laid in my bed as the pompous roar of the crowd swept down the streets of Philadelphia. My turtle is purple and blue, says Indremic. Yes, you did do a small brave thing and share a song with a famous producer. Yeah. Good on you, man. That one feels pretty good up there. Maybe we'll split the difference and go for this F in the middle. Yeah, let's change this project. Oh, I hope I didn't just bork my sound, though. I wonder if I did. Let's see. Let's see if that was just a really bad mistake. Let's set the tempo on this thing to something that's not 70. I have no idea what, though. How about, I have no idea. Let's say 133. Maybe. Boom. All right, so now there's a thing. Let's take this to, wait a minute. Snap. absolute. There you go. Thank you very much. Cool. Now, let's just repeat that now. Yo, less than perfect. Perfect. How you doing, man? Happy Wednesday to you. We are just seriously goofing off after not being horribly accomplished or productive today. We were just talking about getting back into making some instruments and like what that might actually look like. So we're just playing right now. If you put a beat behind it, then all of a sudden it's intentional. So. You guys, we did. We lost. When I reset the sample rate, we lost the stuff we put in here. The last few things we put in here. Oh, that's why it was sucky. Okay, if we put, we go to here though. And we go to sacred. And we just grab whatever. I think it was. Was I using ritual? And I also had a field recording in there. So let's just go grab that field recording. This one. Oh, that sucks because we had some stuff set up. Oh, that does not look like the same. That's not the same thing. That's not the same one. Let's go find what we're on here. We're over here. One did we have in there? I thought we had ritual in there. Oh, it was one of these, I think. This one, maybe? I think. Oh, let me just get out of this one. It's this guy. Yeah, that's the guy. Okay, so now let's put this guy into a loop really quick. Oh, no, that's still not the guy. You can't hear music. Did we lose audio? Oh my goodness. I'm sorry. I'm just now looking up at the chat and seeing that. Let me just kick OBS here. Now, do you guys get some audio over there? Yeah. Sorry, you guys were sitting in silence and I didn't even realize it. Dang it. Dang it. That sucks. So you guys have been without audio for several minutes. That sucks. I was just trying to find the samples that we were using right before that happened. But regardless, not like we're making anything perfect here. Doesn't sound the same. Let's go find it really quick. this one? I don't know anymore. Right? Technology derailing a rabbit hole? Yeah, man. Seriously. Yeah, because we had cool stuff happening on that synth too, in that moment before that happened. Let's get some weirdness in here. That. How about it's always kind of fun. Let's grab some of my really weird ambient glitch stuff. Maybe some dark energy stuff. Let's do this one. This one seems really kind of wild. I haven't played with these sounds in a bit. Let's add, it's fine that it starts there, but let's add a loop that kind of runs here or something, so it kind of comes back just a bit. Like this, and we'll go backwards. You guys ever play the game of just keep adding stuff to a sampler? Just a sampler. And seeing what you can make? It can be really fun. Check it out. Okay, this one's really weird. This one's really, really weird. No idea what's going to happen here. I'm just going to drop the tuning all the way on this. And just set up a loop really quick and see what happens here. Why is that not playing? Hold on a second. Two. What's going on here? Oh, that's weird. Why is the... Oh, maybe it's not on the right... Oh, it's on the right channel. It's just not playing back audio? Why? Huh. Yeah, Zendremic, yeah. Yeah, layering samplers enabled and adding vector delay makes one of the samplers flicker in and out and around. Yeah. Man, I love thermal. Thermal's great. Thermal's awesome stuff. All right. I should probably end my aimless wandering for now. We can wander aimlessly again soon. But for now, I should probably wrap this up here and be somewhat responsible and productive today. But that being said, I appreciate you guys sitting with me while I make little noises. Let's see who's doing their thing right now. Anybody? Who is here? Oh, I don't know. I don't know. I think we're going to go listen to music at Shu's house. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you guys on Friday in 2 days. We shall see if we are buried in snow or ice by then. I hope all of you have a couple of good days. Stay inspired. Make sure you show up early. Drop your links in Discord early if you want to be heard on Friday. Should be a good one. Until then, appreciate you. See you on the flip. Peace out.